Fans, have we got a treat for you today? We are in Deep Ellum, Texas. It's a cool, kind of eclectic area right outside of Dallas. It's known for arts and live music, and we have Katie Mariah, an up-and-coming country artist. And Katie, thanks for joining us today. The viewers want to know, in '08, we're looking at your tour schedule, and it's all about coffee houses and intimate arenas. How important is it to that singer-songwriter to play these small venues?
I mean, it's perfect. To establish a relationship with your audience, that's the ideal situation for me. I mean, to actually be able to make eye contact with an individual, not that you can't in a large arena, but to be able to do that and maybe even say something personal to someone in the audience, that's the best situation to me. And the more intimate the feel of the venue, that's kind of what I'm all about. That's what I love.
Now, before we talk too much about the music, we should talk about you and your roots. And I understand you are from a small town in Oklahoma. And tell us about that. And how did you get introduced to music? And how did that influence and still influence your music today?
Sure. I am. I'm from a small town in Oklahoma. Not too small according to Oklahoma standards, but we were fortunate enough, and it's called Enid, the town I'm from, to have a very small symphony orchestra. And one of my best friends was the daughter of the conductor. So when I was like 7 and 8 years old, I was playing the Sprite and the Magic Flute in operas in a small town in Oklahoma. So got introduced to music at a very early age, doing things like that with our small symphony orchestra and at church, things like that, and really kind of developed this passion for music that way, seeing the classical side, seeing all that goes into the production of a major opera, symphony, anything like that. I was always at our little opera house there in town, the Knox building, just kind of hanging out around the musicians, around the performers, and that's how I got started. And that's kind of how I developed into kind of being classically trained, going off to New York. But then I kept a hold of those roots and those things that I loved about Oklahoma and the small town life.
Well, now you took that classical training, and you, as you mentioned, you brought Oklahoma into it. You're playing country music, and now still residing in Oklahoma. How does real life affect what you're writing and singing about?
Well, that's why I'm so glad I'm back in Oklahoma. I'm back in the small town field, because that's where I feel the most comfortable. And the stories that I write, the music that I grew up with, I mean, like Marty Robbins, stuff like that my dad would play around the house. The stories, that's what I'm involved in. That's what I love to write about. So being back in Oklahoma, writing about small town life, what every day, you and I, people on the street, that's what they go through. That's what I like to write about. That's what I want people to hear and connect with. So.
Now, Katie, the fans want to know a little bit about you. So, I could ask all the cliched, what was the name of your first band and your first pet, but they want to dig deep. We want 3 things about Katie Mariah that not a lot of people know, but you think it's quite interesting about yourself.
Number 1, I play the banjo. I love bluegrass music. I started playing the banjo when I was like 15. Loved the Dixie Chicks. They kind of got me involved with that. Another thing is I'm a huge runner. I run about 4 miles every other day when I can get the time to do that. And another thing is I love the small town life and my husband, and that's kind of what I'm about, and that's what I hope, the audience connects with me for, because I'm kind of just like everybody else.
So no matter how monstrous this first CD drops, how big you become, are we going to always find you in small towns enjoying just the simple things of life?
Sure, that's exactly what I would love to do. I mean, there are artists out there, one of my favorite, Roger Clyne, who want to try and stay small, though it's very hard because, he's got a huge fan base, but he likes to keep those venues small. One of my favorite concerts that I ever went to was a Roger Clyne concert on a barge in New York City. It's actually right before I got engaged to my husband. And he likes to keep the intimate, kind of feel, and that's what I would love to keep, but have that huge fan base too. That's the ideal situation. But you'll always find me in a small town. That's what I love.
So let's talk about the country industry. You've got to have a few artists that you really look up to. Who are some of the role models as you were growing up that you enjoyed the way they either wrote music or performed it?
Sure. When I was growing up, a lot of stuff playing around the house. My dad's a huge fan of music, and things like Dan Fogelberg. Lots of folky stuff. Carly Simon, John Denver even. James Taylor. I knew every line of every song to every one of their albums. But as I grew up, Garth Brooks is from Oklahoma, and I love Garth Brooks. I actually live close to where he grew up now in Yukon and in the El Reno area. And I was a huge Garth Brooks fan. I had the shirts with the diamonds.
Nice.
It was awesome.
I had those shirts as well. They're long gone by now.
Right. Well, yeah, right. I still have them. I have the frilly boots, all of that kind of thing. So, Garth Brooks, Dixie Chicks, I just love them because they play their own instruments. I mean, they were amazing kind of bluegrass gals. Alison Krauss, I mean, the vocal quality she has, that's what I think a lot of people should strive for rather than to, really belt things out, which that's nice at times, but to really have that pure kind of sound where people can understand you and really identify with the lyrics you're singing, that's what I love.
Now, a lot of what we see on TV, you see these shows like American Idol, and they're doing a lot of covers, and you hear some of the artists say this is a cover they've wanted to do since just a wee little child doing music. Do you have one or two songs, whether in the country realm or not, that you would just love to perform in front of 80,000 people, a cover that just kind of personifies the music you love?
Wide Open Spaces, the Dixie Chicks song that I first fell in love with the Dixie Chicks for. That would be ideal for me. But I mean, I do write my own music. That's what I love to perform. But Wide Open Spaces, something like that, or Callin' Baton Rouge, Garth Brooks, those are stuff that you just want to pump up an audience with. And I think they do a really great job. So
08's a big year for you, Katie. You obviously are touring, you're doing a bunch of shows, but also you just finished the production of your first video. What's it like to put it all out there, to hear your song kind of turn into a mini movie?
A dream come true. Taking an idea from, like the very, very birth of the lyric and the song and taking it to fruition of this huge, kind of almost epic feeling video that people can watch all over the world. That's been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. And to actually have it happening and seeing it for the first time, it makes your heart beat so fast. It's a dream come true, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Well, there you go. Dreams do come true. It's one of the hottest new country sensations we're chatting with. Katie, thank you for joining us. If you want more information, it's katiemariah.com. But for now, she's got 2 shows tonight in Dallas. We got to go.
Coming on.